them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant?
Orlays? Reginald Orlays? He did this? I didn't think he was still alive. You're sure it was him? Oh yeah. Both worked for UC Defense Research way back when. Different departments, but everyone knew Orlays. Had a mean eye for weapons tech. And a meaner temper. Wasn't exactly a surprise when he fled instead of standing trial after the Colony War. But finding out he's taken up mass murder in the years since, that is a shock. You're sure about this?
That's some impressive work. So then give us the rundown. Where's Orlays now? Were you able to bring him in? I'm sorry to hear that. Those sorts of missions are always tough. Any idea why he might have done it? Or what he was doing with the plant?
Aha! That makes sense. Plenty of abandoned tech for an old warmonger to pilfer there. Instead, he stumbles on the plant and finds the perfect way of getting back at the UC for trying to put him on trial.
Decides to use the plant against the people that destroyed his old life. I can see that. Well, at least he won't be able to hurt anybody else now. Might be the best we could ask for, given the circumstances. So I guess there's nothing else to do but get this all in front of the cabinet. Unless there were other things we needed to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the Terramorphs. Asylees aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the Terramorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Asylees, we're at least dealing with known risks. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Asylees seem like they're even better at tracking leech.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti. Microbe is going to make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant. And then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at... And here we go.
Why can't they just sign off on the quarterly budget already?
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true? The second report claims to know the perpetrator as well. Did Reginald Orlays actually commit these attacks, Captain?
That appears to be the case, ma'am. The captain tracked that information down just after our trip to Londinian.
Reginald Orlays?
Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Body was found floating around Etheria. Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according to plan.
Ah, yes. I was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orlays might have been involved in the attacks? Well, it appears you were ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orlays triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the captain and Major Sinan uncovered.
Simply harrowing.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's justice, it seems both of you are to be commended for ensuring he was dealt with before he could strike again. You have our thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased. I'm glad you think so. So then, to our final topic. The cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terramorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps. The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse. You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sinan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your effort.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Captain, guess we've got our assignment. I could have never guessed where all this was going. But now, knowing what I do, that my past is less of a closed... Well, I've just spent a lot of my life in pursuit of the truth. So, you bringing it straight to me, it just means a lot. The best ones certainly do. You know, I was thinking, while we were there on the podium, if I wanted to try and see him again. But I knew the answer before I even finished the thought. I didn't. Because confronting him, what would I gain from that? From letting him remind me I can never truly be rid of him? Nothing. Now, all I'd be doing is acknowledging that he still has some sway over my life. And while I can't do anything about his role in my past, I'm not about to let him control my future. And thanks to what we've done together, that future is brighter than it has been in a long time. Words can't do justice to how grateful I am for that. You know I can't do that. But I wouldn't be upset if you came by the HQ every now and then. Remind me how much I owe you. Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there.
This is the first step in our long march against the Terramorphs.
Yes, what?
Well, at least our perpetrator won't be hurting anyone else. A good find, Captain.
Excuse me. Hello?
knows the truth about Orlays. Splendid. That means you and I can get to work. I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating Freestar Central Command and ending the conflict at long last. I thought I'd had myself, but such invasions are costly, in resources and lives. Others in the UC believed the blockade would be sufficient to bring the Freestar Collective to its knees, but they were wrong. So instead, they sacrificed far more lives in a protracted war, rather than doing the right thing from the start, and demolishing the Freestar capital when they had the chance. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinium. The Terramorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things, and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war. You joke, but the scale we were working, that's precisely what it was. A distraction, and I dealt with it as such. Quickly, definitively. The only reasonable solution. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called the Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels, but my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after, and thus rang the death knell for the great UC. That's one way of putting it. But yes, bad luck. And weak subordinates. We were in the middle of an all-out war, Captain. Committing ships to save the city would have left another undefended. Which city would you prefer I'd sacrificed? Sidonia? Gagarin? New Atlantis? And if anyone else had learned about the Lazarus plant, well, the risk was too great. I weighed the options and made the call. Once we'd cracked synthesizing the Lazarus plant's pollen, research that took years in and of itself, the attacks were exceedingly simple. Orlays' ship would land on our target, bearing a few heat leeches, nothing that would raise suspicion. Then Lazarus pollen was pumped out of the ship during liftoff from the planet's surface. Shortly thereafter, an attack. A strike perpetrated in mere moments, with no one being the wiser. Well, thanks to our combined efforts, the Sanan name has more clout with the cabinet than it has in years. I hope to build on that. I have a long list of names civilized society would be better without. I just need someone to help me remove them from the picture. Should we begin the hunt, or did you have questions? Just what I was hoping to hear. There's a slate waiting for you in the transfer system. details for our first, person of interest.